The rain poured down relentlessly on the streets of the city, as if the sky itself was weeping for the forgotten souls wandering below. The neon lights of the nearby diner flickered in the distance, casting brief flashes of warmth amidst the cold darkness. Lena sat huddled in the doorway of an old abandoned building, clutching her thin jacket tightly around her. Her hair, matted and tangled, stuck to her face, and the dirt under her fingernails was a constant reminder of how long it had been since she had felt the comfort of a shower, a meal, or even a bed to sleep in. She had been living on the streets for months now, ever since her life had unraveled in a way she never expected. Just 2 years ago, Lena had been a bright and ambitious college student. She had dreams of becoming a renowned artist, but when her parents died in a tragic car accident, the world she knew had collapsed. Alone and heartbroken, she had tried to hold on to her life, but the weight of grief, combined with mounting bills and the crushing reality of living paycheck to paycheck, had broken her spirit, and one bad decision after another led her to where she was now, homeless, hungry, and invisible. Her stomach growled loudly, but Lena had no food to quiet the sound. The last meal she had was 2 days ago, a piece of stale bread she had found in a trash bin. It was hard to believe that only a few months ago she had been surrounded by friends, teachers, and people who cared about her. Now, all she had was the pavement beneath her and the constant hum of the city that ignored her existence. As she pulled her knees closer to her chest, trying to conserve warmth, a sleek black car pulled up near the curb. Lena barely paid attention at first. She had seen so many cars come and go, none of them ever stopping for her. But this car was different. The door opened and a tall man in a sharp suit stepped out. He had an air of confidence, of wealth, but there was something else in his posture, a wariness, a sadness, as though he was running away from something. Lena looked up briefly, then quickly looked away. People like him, people with power, money, and status, didn't care about people like her. She didn't want to face the rejection again, but the man paused when he saw her. His gaze lingered for a moment, almost as though he was torn between walking away and doing something that didn't quite make sense. He stepped toward her. "Are you okay?" His voice was low, yet warm, with a hint of concern that made Lena's heart flutter in spite of herself. Lena was used to being ignored. The world had always treated her as invisible, just another homeless face among many. So the question caught her off guard. She looked up at him, her eyes full of skepticism. What did he want from her? Sympathy? A story? A sob story to make himself feel better? "I'm fine," she muttered, hoping he'd just go away and leave her in peace. But instead of walking off, he crouched down beside her, his expensive shoes gleaming in the dim light. "I don't mean to pry," he said, his tone calm but insistent, "but you don't look fine." Lena felt a flicker of anger rise in her chest. What did he know about her life, about the things she had been through? She opened her mouth to tell him to leave, but then something stopped her. There was a quiet sincerity in his eyes that made her hesitate. It was a look she hadn't seen in a long time, the look of someone who actually cared. "I'm James," he said after a long pause, offering her a hand. "James Blackwell." Lena hesitated for a moment. It was so strange, this encounter. In her entire time on the streets, no one had ever given her their name or even acknowledged her existence with such kindness. And yet here was a man who seemed so out of place in this world. She glanced at his face, his sharp jawline, the way his eyes seemed to carry a weight that mirrored her own struggle. He wasn't like the other. Maybe, just maybe he could see her as a person, not just as another shadow on the sidewalk. After what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke. "Lena?" James smiled gently, and the gesture felt almost surreal to her. "Lena, it's nice to meet you. Do you mind if I sit here for a moment?" Lena raised an eyebrow. He wanted to sit with her. What was going on here? But before she could speak, he had already lowered himself to the cold pavement beside her, seemingly unfazed by the discomfort of it. For a few moments they sat in silence, the rain falling steadily around them. James didn't ask her about her past or offer her empty words of pity. Instead, he just sat there, as if the world had stopped for them. It was almost as if, in that quiet moment, they were two lost souls, both carrying burdens that were too heavy to bear alone. Finally, James spoke again, his voice soft yet firm. "Lena, I don't know your story. I don't know what brought you here, but I want to help." Lena looked at him, confused. "Help me? Why would you want to help someone like me?" His eyes softened. "Because everyone deserves a chance to start over, to be something more than their circumstances." The words hung in the air, their weight not lost on her. No one had ever said anything like that to her before. She had always been the problem, the charity case, the outcast. But this man, this stranger, was offering her something she had long since stopped hoping for. Hope itself. "Why would you help me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. James seemed to consider the question for a moment, then looked straight at her. "Because sometimes the people who seem like they have everything don't actually have what they need the most. I know what it's like to feel invisible. I've been there too." Lena stared at him, a strange mixture of disbelief and curiosity swirling in her chest. "You?" she said. "You seem like you have it all. Money, a career, everything." James gave a small, bitter laugh. "Money doesn't fix everything, Lena. It doesn't fix loneliness. It doesn't fix emptiness. And it definitely doesn't fix the broken parts inside." For the first time in a long time, Lena found herself listening, really listening. It was strange, but something in James' words resonated with her. She had never imagined someone like him, someone who seemed to have it all, would understand her pain. "You don't have to help me," she said after a moment, shaking her head. "I've made it this far. I'll keep going." "I'm not saying you can't," James replied, "but maybe you don't have to keep going alone." Lena's heart skipped a beat. The thought of someone offering her help, truly offering it without strings attached, felt almost foreign to her. She had never known such kindness. James stood up slowly, dusting off his pants. "I know I'm just a stranger to you, Lena, but I've got resources. I can offer you a place to stay for a while, help you get back on your feet. You can leave this life behind if you want to." For a moment, Lena could only stare at him. The idea of leaving the streets, of finding safety and comfort again, seemed like a dream she'd long since given up on. But here he was, offering it all without hesitation. "I can't," she said softly. "I don't know if I can trust you." James nodded, his expression understanding. "I get it. Trust doesn't come easy, especially not after everything you've been through. But just think about it. Take your time." Lena looked down at the ground, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts. She didn't know what to make of him or his offer, but in her heart she knew one thing. She didn't want to be invisible anymore. After a long silence, she finally looked up at him. Maybe I'll take you up on that offer." James smiled, his eyes softening with relief. "You won't regret it, Lena. I promise." And with that, the first step of her new life began.